Ready?
Ready.
Yeah, let's get it started. And I'm going to hand it over to Cleve. He's the one that is running the show today. Again, just like Jalen Brunson last night, he's going to bring the heat and close us out and win the game. So
I
let's
love it.
roll.
I did not know you were going to tie a Cleveland together with Cleveland. I love that. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Everybody asked me, Are you from Cleveland? Is Cleveland your favorite city?" And I said, "No, it's not." But we were both named after the same person. Cleveland was named after the Grover Cleveland family, the president, and I was named after my grandfather, whose name is Grover Cleveland. So pretty cool coincidence there. So today you said only the fifth week do we talk about AI stuff, but actually that's not correct. So today we're going to talk about some AI stuff and how it helps us put some better systems together so that we can show up better for the people that we are either prospecting with or trying to serve or whatever the heck that looks like. So I would love it. Real quickly, go into the chat and just kind of tell me where you're from. I want to kind of get a feel for the group. Where is everybody from? I'd also love to know, like how long you've been in the business. Mariposa, California, Greeley, Colorado. I had a good buddy who used to sell vacuum cleaners in Greeley, Colorado. Ooh, Argentina. Wow. Denver, Oklahoma, South Carolina. 23 years in the business. Good for you. I'm about 26. Washington, Texas. I don't know where Kylene, Texas is. I'm in Dallas, Texas today. Cool, California. Now, that's the best name I've ever heard for a city in California. Cool, California. Murphy's, I don't know where that is. We got a great group, 37 years. So we've got some people who've been in the business a long time. We've also got some people who are fairly new. So let me just give you a couple little background on me. I started in real estate in 2000, so I'm in 26 years. Started running a team way before teams were even a thing that most people did. I started running a team in 2003. Don't ask me if I did a good job doing it because I would say that the truth is that I did a pretty lousy job of running a team. Anything you can do backwards, I probably did it backwards. Long story short, bought a brokerage, one of the biggest ones in the state. I bought it in October of 2006. I will let you figure out what happened in 2007, 2008, and 2009. So I wished I had actually never seen that office. Decided to just go back to work, start up a team again. And ever since 2009, I've been running a team that's typically for a fairly large brand, either the number one, two, or three team in the state of Georgia. So we would typically sell 200, 220 houses a year, sometimes a little bit more than that, around 3 million in gross commission income. And here's the deal. If you say, Cleve, what percentage of the business did you actually do? It is an embarrassingly low percentage because I wanted to change my business over time and I wanted to create it. I wanted to create a business where the systems that I had in place were what drove all of the success of everybody on the team. And so I would create systems for selling homes or helping people buy homes or for doing research or for understanding the value of your home. And so I'll just give you an example. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn because the truth is we have 12 people in the shower. Can you turn those videos off? We got to be really, really careful. We got to keep this, we got to keep this G rated. So, um, so I did a radio show in Atlanta for 13 years. I did about 620 or 30 radio shows, and we would always offer something. So we'd have this call to action. And if you wanted to understand, let's see here, I don't know who can unmute. Matthew Stewart, will you unmute? If somebody wanted to know the value of their home, what would you provide them? And thank you so much for participating.
Absolutely. Yeah. Typically, it would be a CMA, comparative market analysis,
Yeah,
is what
love it.
most people would say.
Yeah. So here's what an offer looks like. So I don't provide CMAs because they're boring. Everybody can provide a CMA.
Yeah.
I provided what are called CMVPs, a customized maximum value plan, which is a CMA that's designed to show what is the top down to the penny potential value that property could have. And what we did, Matthew, and this is not going to be unheard of for you, we would divide properties into A's, B's, and C's. A's is a 2025 or looks like 2025 or six. A B looks like 2010. Everything's dark. That's starting to come back now. And then a C looks like 1987. You can picture the vines growing up the wallpaper in the kitchen. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So these are things that you do. You do them already. And what I'm going to tell you today is that the key to you connecting with people in today's market is for you to create systems around what you're doing already anyway. And I want to give
Love
you
it.
a little example. Michelle, you and I were talking earlier. general. So you'll like this because this is a very specific process for people to follow. Dealing with a father and son team north of Toronto. We are setting up the offers. In other words, these are the different programs and services that they offer people that are designed to get people to let down their guard so they'll communicate with you. Megan, have you ever had somebody you wanted to talk to, prospect, and they wouldn't call you back? Megan, with it, that happens all the time. Well, the reason they're not calling you back is because you're not giving them a reason to. You're saying, call me back and I hope you buy a house. And they're thinking, hey, there's I've heard there's 267 million licensees in the state of California. I mean, like, there's so many people they could use in the state of California that they don't really care until they understand what you can do for them. So I want you to think about this for just a second, Michelle. We're offering a service that is called the What Not to Do Review. North of Toronto, it goes like this. Hey, if you're thinking of selling your home anytime in the next year or two, it's way more important for you to know what not to do to get ready than what to do. And we offer what's called a not to do review. It's absolutely free of charge. We'll visit your home. We'll spend 30 minutes. We'll leave you the list of the 3 to 5 things that would most commonly be done that should not be done. We think on average, it probably saves our average seller $12,000 to $15,000. Now that's a freaking offer. And somebody will call you back for that. And it's fascinating. So that's what we're talking about today. And I know that was a kind of a long setup because some of you will look at this today and say, hey, that Cleve guy, it seemed like he was just kind of making stuff up. Right. That's exactly what I'm doing. The exact same way they came up with the name of a Honda Pilot. They made it up. The exact way they came up with the name for the E-Series and the Mercedes-Benz. They just made them up. They named something, and because they named it, it had more value in the market and people wanted to. So Matthew, when you think about this, there are so many things, and I'm just going to assume you're a big producing agent. I'm going to guess your GCI for last year at 2.6 million. If you're, let me just tell that story if you don't mind. 2.6 million
Sure.
dollar producing
Let's
agent.
run with it.
And so you already know how to give good service. You already do so many things to take care of people you're serving, regardless of whether or not people are willing to work for you, willing to work with you. But I'm going to tell you that you're not messaging it up front to generate more leads by all of the things that you're doing. So the reality is, Matthew, you don't have to do anything differently than you're doing today. You just have to figure out how to turn these things into an offer. So let me share my screen real quick. Oh, can I get the approval to share? It says I need to send a request. Just because my name is Cleveland, I shouldn't really be discriminated against, honestly.
And
Hang
hey,
on.
don't forget to turn your cameras on. We're at about 50%. I can't believe half of you were in the shower.
You should be good to
Yeah.
share now.
Yeah, hang on one second here. Let me see where in the heck is. Let's see here. Okay, can you see my presentation? Let me see. Hold on just a minute.
Yep,
Yes.
we
Yep.
can.
All right, let me get this going here. And I'm not a big slideshow guy. I have a slide presentation I can show you. Are you looking at my speaker notes or are you looking at the actual screen?
Speaker notes.
Speaker notes. Okay, let me get this. Hold on just a minute here. How about that?
Same.
Oh,
Oh,
there it
There it
goes.
goes. You're good
Okay,
now.
okay,
Yeah,
good.
all
Okay,
set.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Whoever told me that I was showing the speaker notes, thank you. You're helping me not look so stupid. So the title is Stop Guessing, Start Scaling, Mastering Systems. But I want you to realize that today's systems are all about helping you have clearer conversations, being prepared in a better way for listing presentations, and creating better agent attraction. How can you hire people to work with you in a stuck market? It is very, very important that we talk about these things. If you have questions that you'd like me to answer, number one, put them in the chat. I'll be happy if we get to the end to try to answer as many as I can. Number two, I'm going to give all of you a phone number that you can use. And if you want to ask me a question after the session, just use this number. And I do have coaching calls for the rest of the day today. So if you text me and I do not answer, I'll text you back later. But my personal cell phone number is 404 271 4275. 404 271 4275. And I'm going to put that in the chat here. I should have done that before.
I got it for you.
We did it for you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, and literally reach out to me. I love real estate agents, especially people who are trying real hard and feel stuck. So, the market in today's world is stuck. I mean, do you guys agree that if you talk to a lot of people who wish they could sell or wish they could buy, that they feel stuck? Does everybody agree with that? Raise your hand if you agree with that. And doesn't that kind of bug you? Because I mean, I'm pretty sure, Kenneth Hubbard, that in order to get a commission, you probably have to sell something. I'm just guessing that's the way it works in your world. And when people are saying, "Hey, I can't do it because of interest rates, or I can't do it for this or whatever," so buyers are waiting for interest rates to drop. They're waiting for prices to soften. I heard somebody say, "I'm ready to go as soon as prices drop 50%, 50%." And they said it with a straight face. They actually believed it, and they're waiting for confidence to return. And sellers are waiting for the right buyer who's willing to pay more than the property is worth. They're waiting for pricing from the old market. They're looking for the ability to have control over what happens like they used to have in the past, and they're looking for a strong offer. The problem is everybody's waiting. Now, here's the real problem. Real estate agents, and that's all of you and me, in many cases, we're waiting too. We're waiting for the phone to ring. We're waiting for somebody we've been talking to forever to raise their hand and say, "You know what? I figured out how I'm going to move forward, and now I want you to help me." And we're waiting for the market to get easier. But the truth is that none of those things are going to happen for us anytime soon. So we have to learn how to make things happen. 1000%. We have to learn how to make things happen. So a few years ago, average follow up could work. Is your name Kirsty? Kursti? Is that Kirsty? Oh, that's a cool name. I've never seen that before. Kirsty, can you unmute?
Yes.
So in 2020, was your skill set in following up with people actually very important? And maybe were you in the business then?
No, and I still am not. I support Randy, and I'm part of the whole
Well,
group here. I see a
listen,
lot of people that I'm here for social hour.
I bet 1000%. I always pick somebody who's not an agent to
That
ask
was
them
so good.
questions.
I didn't even set that up, and that was
But
so good.
but here's what we're gonna do though. Here's what we're gonna do. Do you think in 2020, when the market was a screaming market to a seller, do you think that agents had to be very talented in their follow-up,
Oh, heck
very
no.
skillful?
No,
No.
I was
What they
around
had
all
to
these
do
guys then.
is they had to hurry up so people
Yeah.
didn't miss something. You had to move fast.
Hmm.
Generic messaging back then would still get attention because people were just trying to get a freaking house, and they already lost out on 6 or 7 of them. And you could do light listing prep. Just go in, and whatever price the seller said, as long as it wasn't too crazy, yep, we'll do that. The truth is, it's going to sell for $30,000 more anyway. Or in California, heck, it could have been $150,000 or $200,000 more in some of those areas. And so the truth is the urgency of the market covered up a tremendous amount of gaps we had in our sales skills, a tremendous amount. Today, the market is not forgiving. Today, clarity around the options matters the most. Clarity matters the most. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. There's an agent named Sarah. She is an agent in Virginia Beach, Virginia. She has been in business for 7 years. She sells on average 25 to 30 houses per year. She and I have worked together for quite some time. And Sarah's just overwhelmed. She's just overwhelmed. Every other month, we have a conversation about whether or not real estate is really the right business for her. Every month we have a conversation, or every other month we have a conversation about her being so busy, and about her at the beginning of the year, Lance, thinking she's got to start over. Every single year, I got to start over, I got to start over, and I got to start over. And so she and I talked about it, and we said, listen, anything you do 3 or more times, you must have a system for it. If you do it 3 or more times, you must have a system for it. And that includes everything. And so what she did is she started creating a system for how she would send out her flyers and her postcards. She started creating a system for how she would prepare for her listing presentations, exactly what she would do in her listing presentation. She already had the framework. She knew what she was doing. She just didn't have a system that she could follow. And so she created some systems around messaging. And here's what she learned to do. Terry, she learned to talk directly to a specific problem that people in her market have. So here's something I can tell you. If your message from a marketing standpoint is designed for everyone, it connects with no one. I want to say that one more time. If your message is designed for everyone or targeted at everyone, it connects with no one. And that is the way it is all the time. So when you get your stories and your situations more specific, it seems like you're shutting down the amount of prospects you could have. But as you get your communication more specific, you broaden the people who feel connected with it. So you might, for example, Amir, only have 6 responses to an ad instead of 40 responses to an ad. Let's just say you're recruiting, but those 6 are meaningful. They are looking for what you're looking for. So if you think about it today, it would make sense for a buyer to be concerned about interest rates, right? And so I want you to think about this. If I posted, I was having a conversation with Jonathan, and he and his wife, Wendy, feel stuck. They feel stuck because they can't afford to buy a home at today's interest rates. She wants to have her kids in a better school district. He feels like a failure as a father because he's not able to do that because interest rates are too high. Now, how many people out there do you think would hear that story and would actually say, I know exactly what that feels like? There's a bunch of people, because remember, 6 or 7% of the people in your market, it might even be more in some areas of California, are looking to sell every single year. Now, they're not selling, but they're still, the demand is still being pent up. And so I want you to think about this for just a second. So then she decided she was going to offer a solution. And here's what she offered. And this is genius. If you want to steal it, you can. She offered a system called the interest rate offset. Tracy, do you offer people the interest rate offset system? I love that. Tracy's like, damn it.
Not yet, but I'm writing it down.
So here's what she said. It's really simple. She said, hey, the truth is that there are opportunities in today's market for buyers to save enough off the purchase price of the home or through some type of seller concessions to offset all of the additional interest they would pay over the first 7 years. I'm not saying, Tracy, that it would work that way for you or it wouldn't. What I'm saying is I have the ability to tell you what that number is, how much you would need to save. And my question for you is, would you like to know the number? Would you like to see it in black and white? Now that's freaking genius. That's talking directly to a problem, offering a tool that is a solution to the problem. Now, Sarah has since added an administrative assistant. We call him a client care coordinator because this person helps with, I don't know if it's a he or a she, they help with pretty much everything that she's doing. So she's automated some of her marketing and she's working hard to put systems in place. Now, her sales are probably not going to be much higher than 25 to 30 this year. But most of the people she knows are selling less this year than they did last year and less last year than the year before. And she's able to keep it steady. But here's the key thing. She's very rarely working nights and she's only working 1 day over the weekend each week. And so it's those types of systems that are 1000% helping her. And so if you feel like, hey, sometimes I'm overwhelmed, sometimes I feel like that my effort, what I'm putting in is not giving me a reward back, then you need to pay attention to what we're going to talk about today. So anything you have to explain, prepare for, answer, or create 3 or more times, you need to turn it into a system. Because remember, and if you want to take one note, Doug, from today's session, it is clarity wins. Clarity wins, especially when it's clarity about the options. Because option number 1 is they don't have to do anything. They don't have to buy. They don't have to sell. They can stay there. Option number 2 is they can learn more about what it looks like to move forward, and then they could make a decision. So clarity wins, and it is so important. So on today's session, and I'm going to be through in about 45 minutes, I've heard that you remove people forcibly from this program if they're not done in time. So I'm just kidding. Can you guys see my screen now? We're going to talk about market messaging system. In other words, what should I say? We're going to talk about your agent attraction avatar because some of you I've heard would like to add some people to your organization because I've heard that there is some benefit to you if you do that, but you're just talking to everybody. And this same concept starts talking to people who have a specific particular set of problems and you'll be able to connect with them. I'm also going to show you real quickly a listing intelligence brief. It's how I get set up to actually get ready for a listing presentation is real quick. And then I'm going to give you a bonus AI listings playbook. I'm probably not going to talk about that at all. I'll just give you the resource. You can go, I'm going to give you a QR code toward the end. You can go to the download page, download everything. You also have my mobile number so you can reach out and talk to me. And for those of you who are looking at the business looking at what we're talking about and thinking about your business going, dang, I could really use some help to like figure out how to grow this. And this is not for everybody. You need to be at a certain level of production or higher. You probably need to be making, $150,000, $200,000 a year for it to make sense. But if you want to ever explore and talk about what coaching looks like, you can 100% do that. And we'd be happy to walk you through that. So let's talk about the steps that are involved in the framework for messaging. So first of all, and this is what we've been talking about, you have to meet them where they are. So if someone says they are afraid because interest rates, you must acknowledge that that makes sense, because the truth is, Michelle, it does make sense for somebody to be stuck because of interest rates. Does everybody agree with that? The next thing you need to be clear about in your messaging is the threat and the emotion. So meet them where they are. You must acknowledge the threat of interest rates and the emotions that go with it. In some cases, sellers say, I feel like a failure because I moved forward, or I feel like I'm not able to take care of my family, or I'm not able to provide the way I need to, or I'm not able to have people in the right places in the family. And so you need to make sure you acknowledge that emotion. The third thing you got to do is you've got to state the truth. And the truth is that you don't have to be stuck because of interest rates, because sometimes you can offset a lot of the additional interest you would pay with some savings on the home. And I assume that's that way in most areas of California right now. And so you're going to state the truth. The fourth thing you're going to do is you're going to offer a tool to fix the problem or to help them learn more. And then you're going to talk to them about the transformation. So let me just show you in real time what this looks like. This is a buyer waiting on interest rates to get better. You meet them where they are. Hey, I understand you're looking at today's rates and thinking, hey, this is a little too much. The threat is the fear of getting trapped by a payment or buying at the wrong time and being upside down. The truth is that the right decision for them is not based on the rate alone. It includes price and negotiation power and payments and future refinance options and the cost of waiting. All of things that you're accustomed to talking to people about anyway. The tool that we would offer them, we are naming a proprietary name called the Buyer Clarity Review. The reality is, Courtney, you wouldn't even have to do or change anything. You already do buyer clarity reviews. If you're an agent, you're already helping people understand, does it make sense? Should you rent? Should you buy? Buyer clarity review. And then the transformation is you take them from a position of fear or failure or sadness to feeling like they're in control because they have a clear comparison. They can see the difference in black and white. Let me give you one little example from the seller side. I think my home should be able to sell more. I'm going to wait for the market to come back. Makes sense. We got to meet them where they are. So if they say that to us, we've got to say, hey, makes sense to us. If I was in your situation, I might do the same thing. The threat is they don't want to sell their home for too little. And their emotion is, I might be regretful, or I might be frustrated, or I'm afraid that this is going to happen. So you have to meet them where they are. The truth is the old market is gone, but that does not mean there's no strategy. You take pricing and condition and competition and buyer perception, they matter a lot. So in today's world, you can have a property that is better than average condition and you can still get a good price for it. And I assume that's the case in California. Raise your hand if that's right. You get a property that just sticks out like a diamond in the market, they still sell for probably more than they should. And so in this particular case, the tool we would offer them would be a listing intelligence review, and is designed to move them from regret and guessing to a clear understanding of pricing and positioning. So the reality is we don't have to convince everybody to sell. We have to show them what the options look like for either staying where they are or selling. Does that make sense to everybody? I know I'm going real fast, and I know these things are not going to be easy to apply, but if you will just speak to the market about the negative things in the market, acknowledge that it's okay for people to feel that way, provide them with the facts around it through a tool or resource that's designed to show them what's up, and then offer to, if it makes sense for them, for you to take them from a negative emotion to a positive emotion. And what I've created for you that'll help you work through this is a worksheet. It's just a little over 1 page, and it gives you questions you can ask yourself where you acknowledge the fears, you acknowledge the emotions, you acknowledge the tools and resources that you give them, and it helps you create messaging for the market. Does that make sense? I was dealing with a team leader, two co-team leaders running a team in Metro Atlanta, right downtown in Metro Atlanta. And they had a recruiting database of 41,000, and they would send out 41,000 emails a week, Tracy, to that recruiting database. And one week they got no responses. The next week they got no responses. The next week they got, guess it, Clark, no responses. The next week, Tom, they got no responses. And I said, hey, it doesn't surprise me that you're getting no responses. I get your emails because I was one of the 41,000 people on their database. I'm also their coach. And I said, I don't know who you're talking to. Actually, is it okay if I use one little curse word? Is that okay? Are you guys okay with that? So I said to him, I don't know who the hell you're talking to. I don't know who the hell you're talking to. Who are you talking to? You're talking to everybody. And the problem is when you're talking to everybody, your message connects with nobody. And so Adam, who is the sweetest man you've ever met, who's a great team leader, he's in the process of becoming Zach Pasmatic's partner, says, I don't know how to come up with messaging that makes sense in today's market. And I said, sure you do. Just pay attention to what happens in your life. Because see, each one of you come in contact with potential sellers and potential buyers and actual sellers and actual buyers who have opportunities that they are able to pursue, and sometimes ones they miss, and they have difficulties and things that they have to deal with. And what you do is you learn to tell those stories from a marketing standpoint. So I said to Adam, I said, hey, you got the greatest recruiting email that lives right inside your head. Tell me the last time one of your team agents came to you and you thought they were going to cry. And Jackie, what he said was very simple. And this, I'm changing the names. We're going to call her Susie for this purpose. He said, Susie came to me and she was just distraught because she knew that the one pending she had that was supposed to close on the 27th was probably going to fall apart. Her share of the commission would be $4,000. And if it fell apart, she was not going to be able to pay her rent. So I said, fantastic. Here's what you do. Go to ChatGPT and tell it the story. And tell it you want it to write an email for you, and you want the solution to Susie's problem to be a system that allows her to meet with 2 new buyer or seller prospects face to face every single week, create a 5-step process for doing that, and offer to give that 5 steps away. They changed their recruiting ad, went out to 41,000 people. Guess how many responses they got? 0. Guess how many phone calls they received from people in the database in the next 24 hours? 5. And guess what the messaging from those 5 people was, and it was consistent across the board? I'm Susie, and I'm tired of it. I want you to show me how. I don't want to be Susie anymore. So you can connect with people much better when you connect with them on what scares them and what makes them afraid and where they feel they're weak and where they need to improve. It's much easier to connect with them. They added over the next 2 weeks 4 agents to the team. 2 of the 4, and they've only been there 6 weeks, are already in the process of selling a unit, either a buyer pending or a seller pending. And so you have to learn to message to the market. Now, the second system I want to talk to you about is the agent attraction avatar. All I did was say to Adam, stop talking to all real estate agents, pick a problem that you know real estate agents have, and talk directly to that problem. And in doing that, they create what I call an agent avatar. So when you're trying to add people to your organization, you must know who you are talking to. Jackie McKelvin, can you unmute? I love your background, by the way. That's awesome. I need to get one of those. And by the way, that little chair behind you, I actually have one of those. I think it is the coolest thing. People ask me if I ever sit in it. I'm like, no, I never sit in it, but I like to look at it. So my question for you is, are you an agent?
Yes.
Do you
Yes.
want to attract people to come into your organization?
Yes.
What are you exceptionally well qualified to help people with if they have a problem? What
Get
do you feel
them
like you're really good?
get them into production this month. Get them a buyer seller this month.
Okay. So how are you going to do that? What do you do? That's fascinating. I love that.
Show them
Did you just make that up? You just
no,
made that up.
no. I want to see where their strengths are, where their strengths lie, where their weaknesses lie, and tailor make a plan that of lead generating to find them a buyer or seller today based on their strength.
Perfect. So you can take somebody who needs a closing quickly, but has absolutely no idea what to do to get there. You can give them a very clear path for doing that. I need you selling that. I need you talking about that. What is the name of the plan that you teach them to use to get to production as quickly as possible?
Great question. I don't have a name for it.
You want me to give you one? I can make
Yes.
one up right now.
Yes.
It's called Jackie's Way. And you think that I'm being funny. I'm not being funny at all, because I'm saying I teach people a system called Jackie's Way, and it's the way I've done this, and here's what's going to happen, and here's what you have to do, because the system becomes the solution. So you connect with them over the problem, and you offer them a system that is a solution to that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So on my team, we had a proprietary system for representing sellers. We had a proprietary system for representing buyers. One was called the Sure Home Selling System. The other one was coincidentally called the Sure Home Buying System. Each one was a 71-step process. And here's the interesting thing, Jackie. If you looked at all 71 of those, you'd say, I can do that. And the truth is, you can do them all, but the odds are you do not. And we do. So it made it a proprietary system that we could offer. So my agents would say, if you want to work with me, we're Georgia's only provider of the Sure Home Buying System. Let me show you what it looks like, and let me show you how our guarantee works. And they say we have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you move into this house and in the first 180 days you don't love it like you thought you would, we'll sell it for you for free. That's us putting our money where our mouth is. They're just proprietary systems. They're things you would do anyway. If you put somebody in a house and they hated it, you'd probably sell it for them for free anyway. And so we're just naming the system so that we can use them to generate some additional business.
Love that. Thank you.
I want you to think about this as you're trying to add people to your organization. Do you want a solo agent? Do you want a team leader who has overhead and thin margins? Do you want a broker owner? There's a lot of broker owners in the world in different brands. You might have seen them in the news recently who are scared about what's going to happen to them when their franchise agreements come up, because now they're owned by somebody else. And they might love to have conversations with you. You might be looking for a capped agent who feels like they're paying but not building, or a collaborative agent, or a growth-minded agent, or someone who's skeptical. So an agent avatar is basically a detailed profile of your ideal agent. It focuses on a single fictionalized person instead of a generalized group. And the things that you're going to talk through are, first of all, you're going to give it a name. Jimmy the Jumpstart. Maybe that's yours, Jackie, is called Jimmy the Jumpstart. I'm looking for somebody who needs to jumpstart on their career. You're going to determine what production level makes sense. And I would assume, since you're teaching people how to get a jump start, you're not looking for people who sold 50 last year, because your message is not going to resonate with them. You're probably looking for people who sold 2, 4, maybe 5. They know there's a little money to be made, but they can't get 2 good months together to save their lives. That's who you're talking to. Then we're going to talk about demographics, not color of their skin or age or anything like that, but what kind of experience do they have? What generation are they from? What languages do they need to know, which is very important in California? What education do they need to have? Where do they need to be willing to work? Then you're going to get into the real meat, and this is where it changes everything. Number one, you're going to clearly define their overriding concerns. And for those of you who are going, this is a lot, I don't know if I could do this. When you go to the download page, you're going to download a resource called Creating Your Agent Avatar. It comes with our recruiting program that costs people $30,000 a year. You get the resource for free because you're here today, and it teaches you the exact system and the questions you answer to create your agent avatar. So we're going to talk about their problem. And I think we've talked about that enough for you guys to be going, okay, I get what he's talking about when he says talk about their problems. Then you're going to understand their behavioral style. Ideally, agents are a high IS. That's the one that's most commonly successful. So you have to use words that resonate with somebody who's in high IS. You use high IS, you use emotionally intelligent words. And then you're going to make sure and get into specialization, how they make decisions, culture and values, current dislikes. You're going to get into all that. And here's the coolest thing. You could take the agent avatar when you finish it. You could put it into ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever AI you use and say, I want to write an ad. I want to write an email. I want to write a Facebook post that focuses on this agent avatar, the problem they have, the emotions that come with it, the solutions that I have, the emotions that come with doing something right, and just get it to tell your story for you. And maybe you'll be just like Adam and you'll go from absolutely no responses and no forward movement to boom. Now people are saying, you know what, Jackie? You might be full of malarkey, but I still want to know what Jackie's way is. Can we talk about that just a little bit? And that's a very, very powerful place to be. And here's the deal. You got to give them the solution regardless of whether or not they come to work for you. You can't say, I'll give it to you if you come to work for me. You got to say, here's the system. Here's the solution. If you want to use it on your own at Center 21, great. Do whatever you want to. If you ever want to talk to me about what it looks like to join me, great. I'd love to do that. Because the truth is, now they've let their guard down and they'll have a conversation with you and they look at you as a helper and a friend, not somebody who's just trying to manipulate them and to recruit them into their organization. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but a lot of people who are recruiters will say anything. They're doing what they got to do to get people in the organization. And the truth is, their mouth way talks past what their ability is to actually help people. And here's the cool thing. I don't think anybody on this session is that way. And Jackie, if you can actually do what you say you're going to do, that will give you a game-changing difference. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again, and I'm going to go in and do a real quick listing intelligence brief. Let me see, where is this screen here? Hold on just a minute here. I'm not sure why I'm not seeing that. I can do it down here. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Can you guys see my screen or no? Did it go away? Oh shoot, yeah, hold on a minute. Let me fix this here.
Yeah, see, we just see your beautiful face, Cleve.
Oh yeah, thank you. And now whoever said that, I appreciate that. You have very low standards if you think my face is beautiful, but I'll take it. Hang on 1 minute here.
Move to Dallas for kisses, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, let me get here. So you're going to have a link to a custom chat GPT, which is called a listing intelligence brief. Can you see my screen now? Let me see. It's coming up there. You see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the deal. Now, my townhome that's in Atlanta is currently for sale. So if any of you want to buy it, just type down this address and send me a check for 700 grand and you can have it right now. But so I'm going to go here and I can either create a listing intelligence brief for a listing presentation. I can build a Canva ready listing intelligence brief from this, but you use what you do here to create the Canva ready or to create a Gemini ready presentation. And so I'm going to click on this one right here to the left. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the property address. This is not designed to replace me. This is designed to help me understand key things before I go on the listing presentation so I can connect with the sellers as well as possible. So I'm just going to say here the address is 10550 Bent Tree View, Johns Creek, Georgia 3097. I'm not going to put anything else. I don't care about it having proprietary colors or logos or anything like that. I want it just to go through and give me the things that I need to know before I go on this presentation. And this is amazing. And all of you will have access. And when you go to this custom chat GPT, just save the URL and you can use the same thing over and over again because all of the instructions are already there. So it's going through, it's gathering walk scores and looking up the listing online and trying to find places where what's listed online and what's listed in the tax records are a little bit different. It's looking at the listing price, it's doing all kinds of things. And then it spits out for me a listing intelligence brief. Tells me what we know from public sources, tells me what we know about condition and features, tells me about the neighborhood story. And this is fair housing safe. In other words, the elementary school and the middle school and the high school are all very good. It gives some statements on market positioning, how we relate to other listings in the market. Gives me position takeaways, gives me 3 scenarios for pricing strategy, A, B, and C. It gives me a marketing plan summary. It gives me a seller conversation guide to have and preparation for objections. And it'll also point out for me areas where what's listed online is different than what is in the last appraisal or the tax records or something like that. And so when you think about it, sellers want clarity. And when you show up saying, hey, it shows this over here and this over here. Can you tell me which one of these is right? And hey, it says this amenity is offered, but I don't see that repeated somewhere else. Can you tell me which one of these is right? And the reality is, the more they think you see their property, the more interested they will be in moving forward with you, because they will feel seen. And here's what's interesting, Courtney. If you love what I love, then I like you. If you're an agent and you love my house the way I love my house, and you want to celebrate the things about my house the way I would celebrate the things about my house, you are my obvious choice. And if you're trying to clarify and you're the only one that comes in and says it says 3630 over here, but only 3330 here, it says 4 bathrooms here, but only 3.5 baths here, can you make sure I understand which ones of these are right? I think I only counted 3.5 baths. Can you tell me if there's another half one? Just ask them questions. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person is trying to get so much good information. And some of you are probably like, I was preaching to the choir. I've been doing that for years. But some of you just go in and take everything at face value, and you really need to go through and verify as much as you possibly can. So I am coming up on my end time. Let me just cover a couple things here real quickly. Has this been good? Have you learned some stuff today? And if you can be
Yes.
different, you can provide some clarity in the market, you will stand alone. I promise you. So remember, when you, let me get to the right one here. And I'll just click this presentation on again, and I'll make sure you have the QR code. Uh-oh, I don't want to do that. Hold on just a minute here. Right here. Where were we? We were right here. Okay, so remember, the listing intelligence brief gives you a property snapshot, sale and pricing context, a micro comp anchors, ideal buyer profile, and data gaps to verify. AI is not the strategy. AI is not the final authority. AI is not a substitute for judgment. AI helps you get prepared so you can walk in and look like you know everything. We've created, and I think it's a 30-page AI listing playbook. And it listing intelligence brief helps you understand the listing. The AI listing playbook helps you turn that intelligence into action from a marketing standpoint. Shows you how you can use AI for seller updates and listing presentation and marketing copy, open house language and stuff like that. And that's just a free gift that I'll give you. Those of you who want to download the market messaging system, the agent attraction avatar, the listing intelligence brief, just scan this QR code. You can go there, no cost, no obligation. And if any of you, like I said before, if you're looking going, hey, I'm at a place in business where I probably need to have somebody walk along beside me. Coaching at Workman can cost anywhere from $1,000 a month up to, depending upon how large clients are, $3,500 a month. But in most cases, people are earning 6, 8, 10 times as much as they're spending on coaching. So if you want to talk about what it looks like for help, we'd love to chat with you about that. And I think I must have changed my screens around here. Was everybody able to get the QR code? Is that bigger now? Can you see it bigger? Yeah, sorry. If you need it, get it. Go get it. It's the only time the resource. This messaging to the market resource is not something that exists anywhere else. You're the only group that will ever have it, that particular resource. I created it just for you based on the messaging today. Will I offer similar stuff? Yes, but that's just for you today. And so I have assignments for you. Number one, create one market-based message in the next week. Number two, define one agent attraction avatar. Jackie, especially you, I expect to get a text message from you that tells me, here's the message that I'm using, here's what I think I can help people with, and here are the conversations that people want to have with me as a result. You don't want them to want to join you. You want them to want to know what it is you know, because that will get them to let their guard down, and then they can potentially join you. And then assignment number 3 is build one listing intelligence brief. All you got to do is go to that custom GPT, put in your information, and then you will be absolutely good to go. And I think it'll really help you on your next presentation. So my hope for you is that you stop guessing, you start scaling, and you put the systems in place that'll absolutely help you grow your business. I can hang around for a few minutes and answer any questions you have. Thank you. You guys have been a very, very attentive a very attentive webinar, very attentive audience. In many cases, I can see people talking and looking all over the place and not paying any attention. And you guys were glued to the screen. And I want you to know that I really, really appreciate that. I do what you do. I've struggled exactly the same way you struggle all the time. And I just learned, hey, if I use different words than everybody else, people will think I am different than everybody else, and they'll hire me more than they'll hire everybody else. And for years and years, I went out and listed and sold 100 houses a year myself, by myself. Now, I had a staff that would help me set the appointments and do all the listings and stuff like that. So, and my conversion rate, by the way, on a listing appointment was only 54%. So I only listed one of every 2 listing appointments that I went on. Any questions? Anything you'd like me to answer? And by the
While
way,
they're thinking about that, I just want to say thank you. Gosh, I love your clarity and the encouragement to us for having a clear message with a unique customer that message is directed specifically to. Love also, I've not heard create a system for anything that you do at least 3 times.
yeah,
But that's a great standard. And then finally, naming your system so you have something proprietary to differentiate yourself in the market with your brand. Really good stuff.
exactly right. And here's what's interesting. You want to hear something interesting? The person who bought my business, they wanted the business because the business produced very well. But you know what they really wanted? They wanted all my intellectual property. So they wanted to be able to use the same things that I had used. So it was almost like me selling them a book. And when you have something that has lots of value like that, people will pay big, big money for something like that. My exit was a fairly large exit, which is really unusual for somebody who owns and sells a real estate team. Normally, you can't give one of them away because it takes too much work for the team leader to make it work. But the reality is, for the last 4 years, I didn't even live in Atlanta most of the time and still ran the team, and it worked out well. So I love all this kind of discussion, and thank you so much for those compliments, Don. That really means a lot to me. And Russell, the agent Adam Berlanga that I was talking about, the team leader in Atlanta, just reach out to me after we're finished, and I'll get you connected with him. My guess is if a condo in Atlanta, it's got to be somewhere in Midtown or downtown because that's where most of them are. And that's where they specialize. They are the condo kings down in that area.
Perfect. Yeah. She's been trying to sell it for a while. I did a referral before. We didn't get it sold.
Yeah, that Midtown condo market is just a mess in Atlanta, just like it is in a lot of places. But there's a way to get it going. So, guys, I'm gonna say goodbye to all of you. It was a pleasure to be with you. You have my cell phone number. If you need anything from me, reach out to me. If you're sad and need some help, just send me a few tear emojis or something, and I'll reach back out to you and figure out how I can help you. I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cleve. And let me close this out and get us ready for next week. If you heard that was the whistle blowing at the end of the third quarter, right? Third quarter is systems and processes. What's interesting is week 1/quarter 1, every month is AI and tech. And it feels like every session is AI and tech. I don't know about everybody else, but if you're just using ChatGPT, you're not running a real estate company anymore. All day, every day, I have ChatGPT open, Grok, Grok. Grok is ridiculously dynamic. If you haven't played with Grok, you need to get on the ball with Grok. Claude's one of my favorite workflow AIs, Claude, Claude. And then Gamma is the only one I use for presentations. And you can export those into all kinds of different formats. And it's absolutely unbelievable how good it is. So, AI is here for sure. Week 2 every week is lead generation. This week was systems and processes into third quarter. Next week is client presentation and engagement. And we have Casey Clark Leba, who's one of the top coaches in the country. From my understanding, she has coached more clients to $1 million in GCI. By the way, 885 is the highest I've ever hit, so I should probably talk to Casey. I've never got to $1 million, so that's pretty impressive. She's next week. Don't forget everything that was here. If you missed the code or if you missed some of the giveaways, that is available on the hub. Correct, Courtney? Correct, on the hub. And then where else?
It's already there for people.
Yeah. Oh, perfect. It's already there. And then, hey, this is Now Nation. If you don't know, you're all a part of Now Nation. Invite everybody to Now Nation every single week, same time, same place, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, right here at nownation.com. Did I miss anything, Courtney?
You got it. You nailed it, Russ. I think Tom has to say his infamous closing lines.
Okay. Now y'all get your inspiration. It's time to put in the perspiration. Now Nation for total domination. Woo!
Hey, woohoo!
I like
Thanks,
the
everybody.
update
Have
there,
a good day.
Tom.
Have a good week.
All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Cheers. Peace.